Hello and welcome to Only Stupid Answers. My name is Sam Basher.
I'm DJ Woldridge.
And today we're talking about Stargirl Season 1, Episode 4, titled Wildcats. Quickie synopsis for those of you who have seen it on DC Universe or eventually watched it on the CW. After realizing that she needs the extra help, Courtney sets out to recruit new members of the Justice Society of America, starting with Yolanda Montez. Elsewhere, Pat's suspicion is piqued after a bizarre conversation with one of the town's residents.
Oh my God. The payoff of that was crazy.
That was really, I mean, I'm not supposed to laugh. I mean,
I did. I
laughed a little bit. Yeah. If we've mentioned this before, we mentioned it off camera, we've mentioned it on camera. If I was a younger person watching this show would be way up my alley. I love this stuff.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy this episode. I didn't want to dunk on it as soon as we literally read the title. I did enjoy this episode. Also, it explained something to me because last episode we saw Courtney take a bunch of the relics from the Justice Society of America's hideout.
Yes. And
a bunch of them we know sometimes are characters that don't innately have superpowers. But this episode dealt with Wildcat immediately and said, no. Wildcat's abilities came from the suit, which also I know there might be some Wildcat fans out there that would really be mad about this because he's normally like a boxer that has sometimes heightened abilities.
Yeah.
You can share your opinion below. I don't care. I'm cool that it was the suit that did that.
Well, and it kind of has to be, right? Because if she's just pulling random teenagers off the street,
you need some help.
You need a little bit of help, yeah.
And we do see that she's boxing in the beginning of the episode, so there is a precedent there that she is a fighter. She can hold her own. But yeah, the suit's going to help out. Also, it's a superhero suit. It doesn't all have to just be like leather that was put on the old man's body. It's like they can do other things.
And I like the way it that she didn't have to make her costume, that it changed its form to match her. I will say, I don't like to be this guy. The mask is a little rough. I thought
the mask a little rough.
Yeah,
I think it worked a little bit better than in photos. I thought it worked a little bit better in movement, but it's not my fave.
Yeah, and especially
Stargirl's costume's real good.
Yeah, exactly. Stargirl's costume is like movie quality. I feel like that one's ready to go. This one was like, all right, I'm excited for you to every season update this a little bit, and by season 4, it's like, oh, it's looking pretty good. It's looking all right.
Yeah, like a little less bulky.
Yeah,
like a little fewer chin
jobby cheeks. Yeah, fewer cheek protrusions. Question for you, Sam. So when you read the intro, Whitney's trying to create her team, and the first one she goes to is Yolanda Montez. Did you have a moment of her? You've probably hung out the least with her.
I thought it was interesting just because Courtney is an outsider in this situation, so identifying with outsiders like she had already done with the table that she sat with at lunch.
Yeah.
But the idea of seeing someone who was being bullied, and when she found out why, I connected with it. I would have thought maybe asking the brother. But also it's okay. I'm cool with her asking first. Let's also address the intro to this episode is talking about why Yolanda was being called a slut.
Yes,
and all this other stuff, and this is the opposite story of what happened in the new Power Rangers movie. If anyone can remember, the Pink Ranger is the villain in this story where she shares someone's nude photos.
Yes.
And she's a bad person. When she said that in the movie, you're like, what? Yeah. Wait, you suck.
Yeah.
Everybody else here is an okay person. You blow. You are a bad person. Now, talking about this episode, that's awful. And also, I'll just say this. The song they picked is the Haley Steinfeld song, which very kind of clearly talks about masturbation. So it felt weird that they were playing that with the story they were telling. I don't know if I'm reading too much into it. It felt weird that they were playing that song during it.
Yeah,
but throwing that aside, it sucks what happened to her, and I can see why her parents would be embarrassed. But we can clearly see this is not her fault. She made a bad decision.
Yes,
right.
Well,
she did. And it's clearly everyone else that took it and ran and humiliated her with it.
Well, and I think she was right in the moment where she confronts her parents, where she was like, I trusted the wrong person. It's like, no matter your feelings on the other things, that was the mistake. And I feel like it's an honest mistake. I feel like it's a mistake the show undermines by having that guy be such an irredeemable dick every time we see him. It's like, why did it immediately makes her decision making look suspect because he's such a bad person. which I think is maybe it should have been a different character other than our bully character, but sure, fine.
It makes it just, it easily explains away like how the girl, sorry, let me go ahead and pick her name. It is Cindy. Cindy is the bully who
Cindy
shares
Berman.
the photo.
Yeah.
In one text, just
boom, done to go.
Sends that.
And I will say there were moments. So this episode is written by James Robinson, who is probably maybe best known for his run on Starman, the Jack Knight version of the character, who was the immediate predecessor to Courtney getting the cosmic staff. And we don't see a lot of Jack Knight's Starman because my understanding is James Robinson holds some sort of rights with the character, so DC doesn't use his version much.
By the way, he crossed over with Hellboy, and Mike Mignola did the art for it, and it's pretty cool. I read it's Dark Horse and DC crossover, and Hellboy and Batman and Jack Knight Starman for some reason all.
He was really popular in the '90s. That version of Starman,
cool.
yeah.
It is his like goggles and trench coat, and his like his staff is like smaller.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's like a flashlight.
And also, just side note, Mike Mignola, has been doing like just random sketches for charity, and they are all like slam dunks. They are all so cool because he's so talented.
SpongeBob and Patrick was really cool.
His Tony the Tiger, like I was like, man, I want that, and then I saw how much it was auctioning for. I'm like, oops, never mind.
By the way, I also Francis Manifold did a sideways like flash drawn like painting, like a painting, and it was going for like $3,000. I was like, oh, not good. I'll support your local comic book shop, but oh my god, I want that, and I will never be able to afford it.
Yeah, 100%. But anyway, the montage. And just to finish the James Robinson thing, they also reference the Shade, who was an antagonist, like a friendly antagonist, like what's the word I'm thinking of? Like frenemy. He's a frenemy of Jack Knight Starman, so we might be getting some of that this season, which would be cool.
But I liked it because he 100% killed Dr. Midnight in the past, because like that was like a dark ball that like picked up Dr. Midnight in the first episode. So like Shade definitely killed somebody, and also Shade in like DC Comics, like you said, is like became more of a good guy that would sometimes kind of like go crazy and do stuff. But he's also like a big Flash antagonist as well. Yes,
and I think a version of him showed up in the Flash show, and also this is different than Shade, the Changing Man. Which is annoying. The same name, different character.
He might show up in Doom Patrol, but like that might be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like,
otherwise, Sam is not a fan of Shade the Changing Man. But moments like the montage at the beginning were, and certain moments very much felt like the story of a teenage girl as told by a middle-aged white man, and it was tough. I wish, obviously, you can't have teenagers writing your show for a variety of reasons, but I do wish there were more like female writers on the show that could like they might have not have had the same experiences depending on their age, but kind of know the dynamics a little bit better and can kind of communicate to that more. A moment I did really like in the show, which felt the most genuine, was when Courtney was like, "You want to see how I blew up your ex's car?" And she's like, "Yeah, I do." And it's like, yeah, these are teenagers. Like this feels so real to me. And it was like a really cool moment of bonding with the characters that I liked a lot.
And I like that they supported each other. And again, like when it was written by like an older audience, like by an older writer, for a younger audience. When Yolanda was like about to kill her boyfriend, like in the hospital room, and then she like stops, it just felt like, is this what she's gonna do? Like, is this really like not that like, yeah, she would want revenge, like because she's a kid, and also that her life is ruined, like her life is over because of what that boy did, and he has no consequences for it. But I liked her by at least the end of the episode. Like, she's on board. They're a team. Stargirl and Wildcat. I was gonna say Black Panther. Sorry, I'm getting the cat character.
They definitely, when they were like, okay, so in the comics, Ted Grant is just a really good boxer. What powers can we give him? Well, let's just rip off Black Panther for all that. Let's just take off, stuff. All the cat stuff,
and also like purple and black, like that kind of color.
100%,
like Black Panther. Yeah. And I liked where they ended, and I liked that who has been advertised as our next Dr. Midnight, that the friend who's very. who's very obsessed with her parents, or not obsessed with her parents, but she clearly doesn't have like a lot of outside friends.
Yeah. So she's trying to make
very
her.
Much.
And by the way, two things before we move on. Two things I liked specifically to that. I really appreciated the moment where mom's like, "No, we're your parents. We're not your friends." I feel like whenever a parent is like, "I'm like my daughter's friends," it's like that's bad. Don't do that.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But
I agree.
And another moment I liked is when Yolanda, went and had her big moment with her family. Like, I'm going to stand up for myself and we're going to work this out. And her family was like, no, we still hate you. Like, her family sucks.
Yeah.
Her family sucks.
And I do like that, like, man, like, wow, these parents really made this about themselves.
They really internalized all this.
Yeah. Which I don't like. I'm not knocking the writing. I'm like, hey, if we want to milk this, like, we can go for it,
Yeah.
like, and I can see that. I can see parents who are like very, and they did set it up well in the beginning of the episode. You see that her mom is very proud of the fact that she's running for student president, student body president. And so the fact that, like, on that same day, she was humiliated on a pretty big scale for like this small town. Like, I can see it. I can understand, like, not understand the parents' feelings. I can understand the parents acting this way.
Yes.
Based on what they set up. So and I like seeing them teamed up, and I like the tease of like that girl now looking out for like Yolanda and Courtney and becoming like Dr. Midnight.
Yes.
It's just weird that these are the JSI characters we're seeing first, not Flash, not Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
not like any of those.
Listen, those brands are tied up in other properties.
Not even Our Man.
We do get a nod. Yeah, we do get a nod for the genie. Jakeem Thunder.
Jakeem,
yeah,
who is the friend of the brother, which we don't see him in the
We
episode.
don't see him, but I do like the idea of there being a significantly younger kid that's part of the group. I think and having him have a genie all the stuff with the pen. It's like, I'm actually way on board for this. And what I didn't know, and we'll dive into this more later, is that Beth Chapel was a Dr. Midnight in the comics. She is not original to the show. So she was a follow-up. Like, I knew about Yolanda Montez because she was Wildcat when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
I heard that because remember, I remember in the Earth 2 New 52 stuff, she popped up after Ted Grant as like the animal man of that world.
Oh, weird.
But like mainly it was like cat stuff.
Yeah.
And then they like really drag her for being an unimportant character. It gets really meta, and they like you
wow.
were such a letdown, and then she becomes like a really cool character. Anyways, I know I'm kind of ranting.
I love the idea
I
of
did not know that she was that big.
Yeah, I love the idea of like, yeah, you're Animal Man, but like only cat stuff.
Only cat.
Only
she
the
was
cat
like
stuff.
she could turn into anything, and then like the red. Because the Earth exploded, she was like, "But I can still do cat stuff."
Don't you worry, I still got my cat powers. But you wanted to talk about a little bit one of the new big bads we get introduced this episode.
Yeah, because last episode we see Icicle he's icing
everybody
left and right, kids, the young wizards, adult wizards, and now wives of wizards.
Yes.
And because you made a joke when we were texting as you were talking about it. It's like, how many more members of the wizard family can we kill?
Yeah.
And I mentioned that cat's
still around. It reminded me of like the clearing house in The Outsider on HBO, where El Cuco's just like wiping out family members left and right. It's like Icicle's doing the same thing. Everybody's gone.
Yeah.
Gotta kill the bloodline. We learned that from Harley Quinn.
Another DC Universe show. Yep. Check out our reviews. Yeah, and so we see that. And by the way, I think we were mentioning it up top that was just insane that like happened. And I did like that the wife seemed to know something. I'm just bummed we won't get to learn more. But in this episode, we meet another member of the Injustice Society, which I couldn't see him on the painting.
No.
He may have been there, but I just couldn't see him when I was doing my watch through. And I tried to skim through, and I couldn't find it. On the rewatch, but yes, we meet Dragon King.
Yes,
who's apparently doesn't have a name, but he was. I'm reading the fandom DC Wikipedia article that Dragon King was initially like a villain for the Justice Society on Earth 2.
Yes,
prior to Crisis on Infinite Earths. Then Crisis happened, and he played a role in that. Then disappeared until none other than Geoff Johns took over the role of writing for the Justice Society, creating Stargirl and S.T.R.I.P.E.
Yeah,
that
version
character
of Pat
proper.
Dugan, yeah.
And just kind of reading, since we are diving in, we've been talking spoilers. I will say in that series, Dragon King is in Blue Valley, is an antagonist for Courtney, and his daughter goes on to become a supervillain named Shiv.
Yes.
SHIV. And so far, if you can tell, there is a villain at the high school with a unique hair that is been antagonistic towards Courtney, named Cindy Berman,
Yes.
played by Meg DeLacy. And she is it's setting up right now that she is the daughter. And I like the idea of all these villains and heroes having offspring in Blue Valley, Nebraska. As to why, I have not learned yet, and I'm trying not to read up on that, but I do know that like Dragon King in the comic had a background in science because he was, it says, one of the people that created the Axis powers.
Oh, wow.
Like the connection between like Nazi Germany, Italy, and Japan. So he was a brilliant scientist from Imperial Japan. He's an occultist, and he's an expert in hand-to-hand combat. So we will get some fights, which would be interesting. Also, throwing magic against Stargirl and S.T.R.I.P.E is interesting as a threat because the wizard's now been killed. But he does ask for the wizard's body. So I'm thinking I want to throw out my theories for that. Do you have some thoughts on that?
Well, for one,
it sounded like you did.
No,
I can't see you,
no, it's fine. Dragon King is portrayed by Nelson Lee in this show, by the way. I actually thought I like the design of Dragon King. Some of the eye bit was a bit much. I loved it. Verged a little bit on a bit silly, but the moment where the way he talks about like his loyalty to the group and I like the icicles even like creeped out by him, like he's not even feeling comfortable. And then
it's like, yeah, can you get your goons out of here? It's like, sure.
Yeah,
they're probably zombies over there. Sure, go ahead, they can leave.
But I thought it was really effective when just of laying out the character's personality. He was like, "Can I have the body?" And Icicle's like, yeah, I guess, man. Weirdo.
Sure, go for it.
Yeah.
Knock yourself out.
I like that. I like that scene. I feel like they try with the adult stuff, with the villain stuff I think they pander to the adult audience a little bit more when it comes to the villain stuff.
And that's smart, to kind of try to get all audiences on board. I think we could see him like, my pitch is like zombie type scenarios, or he's either interviewing the dead or controlling the dead.
Yeah.
So I think you could see like the wizard coming back in some way, or since a lot of the JSA was killed by the Injustice Society, maybe like brought back from the dead versions of the Justice Society versus the new Justice Society set up by Courtney and the younger kids. That as a pitch, like we're not, because Joe McHale said he only did one scene for this show, so who knows? Oh, well, he wasn't actually taken because he died somewhere else.
Yeah.
So maybe in the first episode, so maybe we'd see those actors come back, like a version of the Flash that's in the Injustice Society or the Green Lantern or something like that. Could be interesting. Who knows? Just throw out my pitch because I want to know from you guys. What do you think the old Lizard Eyes is up to? With he's got like green and red eyes, and he's got a interesting mask that made me think he was a G.I. Joe villain.
He did look a lot like Cobra Commander.
But yeah, I want to hear from you guys. And DJ, I want to know from you, how would you rate this episode?
I would rate this episode probably an 8. Probably a solid 8. Yeah, because it's I think it's good. I like what it's trying to do. Again, I wish it had some writers that could better speak to the young high school girl experience. But I like all the superhero stuff. I like all the JSA stuff. I like all the characters we're introducing so far. And as we've talked about before with these superhero shows, that's really the bread and butter. Like if you can get everybody on board with the characters, you're pretty much good to go.
Agree. I apologize for the yawn. I'd also give it an 8. I enjoyed the episode. I like the idea of just kind of like introducing a new hero each episode.
Yeah.
Would be kind of cool. Also, a new villain would be interesting to have him go up against. And there is a compelling mystery for Blue Valley, Nebraska, and I am excited to learn more about it because this cast is very strong. I just sometimes like the writing is really good, and then it kind of feels like a little disconnected, and then it's really good, and then it feels disconnected again. So I kind of hoping for a little bit more consistency. The effects, of course, look very cool. The way that they were able to bring Wildcat to life was very interesting. So I'm excited to see what Dr. Midnight looks like in this like updated universe, and Hourman and all the other heroes, because their looks are incredible. So let's see what that looks like. Also, Jakeem with the Mr. Dr. Pepper, Dr. Thunder. What's the knockoff? Dr. Thunder is the knockoff. It's Shasta's version of it. I can't wait to see those characters pop up as well. But please let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. I love when you guys are able to write reviews because we want to be able to read those on future episodes. And just so you guys know, we have Doom Patrol Season 2 coming out on HBO Max, as well as DC Universe. So please consider subscribing to DC Universe. That's how we get these shows in particular. I know the CW is airing this as well. But if you have theories or anything, we'd love to hear them in the comments down below. Also, we have other movie reviews we'd like you to check out. I have been stalling a little bit so that I could pull up a review because we have a bunch of comments from the last video. And like people are mentioning that Icicle is speaking Norwegian. Makes me wonder if they're leaving the door open for the hero Ice to be related to him somehow from the Justice League comics from the early 90s. Which could be interesting.
It will be interesting. We haven't seen like almost anything of that character. I think she was in that failed Justice League pilot from the 90s, but other than that, nothing.
Also, James Argenta says the female villain is Tigress, who is a teacher at the school, who is married to the gym owner, who is sports master, and they have the child who is Artemis Cross.
There it is, from famously from Young Justice. So we'll get to see her.
And that would be a cool live action character because the way Arrow used Artemis is weird.
Yeah, it was. And I actually look forward to the idea of a live action sports master solely because of the way Young Justice was able to make that really, really, really lame character super cool.
Yeah, I don't even know how to explain Sports Master to people. Nope. It's like a guy who tripped through a sports chalet and then came out and started throwing punches. Yeah. Like, I don't know how else to describe him. It's like if someone saw Jason from Friday the 13th and was like, you know, a hockey mask is scary. What if you just put like all the sports gear?
Yeah, all of it.
All of it. But gang, let us know what you think in the comments down below. Check us out on Twitter at Only Stupid Answers.
Check out the vowels from stupid.
Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/onlystupidanswers and check out all of our other reviews and share them. That's how we're able to grow this channel and do more things in the future. When movies start coming back, we will be doing more movie reviews. We'll check out all of our reviews right here on youtube.com/onlystupidanswers. And until next time, gang, stay safe.
Bye-bye.